Okay, what are we really worried about in South Africa? What are we really, really worried about? It's not education, but we are worried about education. It is, where is our social capital coming from? Where is it that gives ordinary people the networks, the resourcefulness, the knowledge, the role models, the coping skills, the support systems, the sense of belonging to become effective, responsible citizens of the future? Where are we going to draw on in the next 25 years? The good policemen, the good teachers, the good parents. Where are we creating the social capital that is the catalyst for individual and collective agency? We can invest in early childhood development. We can invest in skills for the youth. But without that sense that people can be agents of their own future, they can make choices and they can operate on those choices, we are nowhere. And that, to my mind, and many of the sociologists agree, is the biggest constraint to development and fighting our way out of poverty in South Africa. Who has it and how do we help them grow it? And again, huge amounts of our social capital is tied up in important social institutions. And when you work with schools and when you work with NGOs, when you work with social groups, remember that. How do we measure it? How do we assess it? But that sense of belonging, that sense of capacity, opening a window and encouraging people to move through it and to become somebody else and to take elements of their community with them. I won't dwell on this next point for too long. In fact, I think the big thing about real change is it has to be informed by our realities. And if you look at this picture, it sums up all the problems of education in South Africa. Yes, we don't have enough teachers. Yes, we don't have enough infrastructure. Clearly, there's no textbooks here. But I often feel that when we study problems in our society, we need to remember, when you pick up a pair of binoculars, you've got to hold them the right way around. You've got to use those binoculars to bring into focus the detail of the context, the characteristics of the big things and what is distinctive about them. When you look at an elephant, you understand an elephant when you look at him through a pair of binoculars. When you look at a tiny little bird, you begin to see the detail and you understand the interrelationship. When you pick up the binoculars the wrong way around, big things look small. And always we have to work in that context. And I think sometimes we are guilty of picking up the development binoculars the wrong way around and shrinking the problem to fit our solution rather than tailoring the solution to the realities, the scale, and the complexities of the challenge. I've used this photograph many times. I love it. It tells me so many things about hope and optimism in our society. But what it made me think of today was the famous Aesop fable of the hare and the tortoise, which you all know incredibly well. And I think we've got hares and tortoises amongst the NGO sector and certainly in corporate social investment. And I just wanted to draw some sustainability observations about hares and tortoises. The hare has to be the most ADD animal there is. Runs around with great enthusiasm, off in all directions at the drop of a hat, huge reflexes, can turn on a dime. As we know from Aesop, never gets to the finish line. The tortoise, on the other hand, just keeps plodding along. I think together with the crocodile, the tortoise is probably one of the most ancient animal species in the planet. So you talk about sustainability, it's the tortoise. And rather, tortoise isn't the sexiest thing on earth, it's one of the smartest, because you know what the tortoise cannot do? Can't go backwards. So that tortoise has to be absolutely sure where he's going, because if he takes the wrong turn, he's not going to get out of there. So I think Aesop's got a lot to teach us. Quickly, I've got some examples for you. Some have come out in the debate today. They might have come out in the debate tomorrow. You can read about them. You can explore them. We can steal them. We can implement them. Brilliant initiative in the United States. It's called Project Streamline. It's philanthropies, foundations, corporate funders, and NGOs working together to simplify the grant application process. Doesn't take away your power of choice, doesn't take away your responsibility. It's a brilliant example of eliminating a whole lot of the unnecessary burdens and liberating both sides from the paperwork and the unstructured way of operating that this relentless fundraising has driven us into.